All right, hello everyone. Eric Marks here again with FindingMiddle-earth.com, and today we're going to talk about the brand new Aurora Hdr 2019 or 2019, however you want to say it. And for those of you who don't know, I have a bit of a rocky road with Aurora Hdr. The first version that came out years and years ago, I was so excited about it. I tweeted about it. I made a YouTube video about it. I wanted it so bad. I wanted the interface to be awesome, and everything was awesome except for the usability. It was so slow. The performance wasn't there. It was just awful. And so a couple years went by, and the company that makes Aurora Hdr, Skyloom, which was MacFun at the time, they saw my YouTube video, and they said, hey, we saw your review. Thank you for all the feedback. Will you join our pre-release review team so we can give you some pre-release versions and you can review it and give us feedback? So I loved that idea because I love their software. Like, the interface is perfect, but I love that I get to play a voice in helping shape the future and helping make things better for myself and for everybody that's going to be using this software. So I got a pre-release version of 2019 that I've been playing around with, and I thought I'd give you guys my thoughts. I'm going to make this quick as I possibly can because I literally leave for a family vacation in about 4 hours. A family member on my wife's side of the family passed away, very unfortunately, and we're just kind of getting away for some much needed family time. So not to put a damper on the video or anything, but I'm going to try to make it quick because we are leaving. But yeah, so here we go. So let's talk about some of the things that they added. So some of the new things are a new Quantum Hdr Engine. What does that mean to you? That basically just means that the algorithm has changed, and I will tell you, playing with the pre-release version, that the algorithm is actually pretty incredible. I was never amazingly happy with how it blended 3 images or 5 images together, because even the starting point had a lot of halos where there's some sharp lines and a lot of contour in the image. Like, if you ever shot with an ocean sunset with a horizon line, there would be some halos and some artifacting. And now the starting point is like 99% clean. I honestly don't even know how they did it. This is one of the biggest jumps I've ever seen. Like, from 2017 to 2018 was like, okay, we got some new features, it's cool, but this is a big jump performance-wise and a lot of stuff under the hood, which is great. So yeah, new algorithm, great. They added some new LUTs, which are lookup tables. They're kind of like camera profiles that make your photos kind of instantly look like cinematic, or you can do some black and white stuff. Anyway, that's what LUTs are. Photoshop plugin support. This is huge for me. This is awesome. So you can now have access to your third-party plugins. So my Nik software that I use all the time, my Nik Sharpener and my Nik Pro Contrast, all the Nik plugins I can access from within Aurora Hdr. Just heavenly. It's awesome. So I love that they did that. They have a new HDR Smart Structure filter for realistic and anti-artifact, artifact-free structure. So basically, you get some clarity boost, and you don't get a bunch of haloing or noise. I tried that out, and it worked pretty good in certain situations. I tried it out mainly on clouds because that's where I always have a lot of trouble trying to get structure to some nice textury clouds, and it ends up like just being ridden with noise, and it works really good. It's not perfect yet, but it works really good, so we'll say that. Presets are now called Aurora Hdr Looks, so they just changed the name from presets to looks. Nothing big there. An improved adjustable gradient filter with new sliders. So yeah, that is cool. Their gradient filter, kind of like you can use in Photoshop, it actually has shadows and highlights sliders to kind of mix together, kind of like balance them with the gradient filter. It's pretty cool. And then of course they have an improved HDR details boost effect. So they've improved they've improved some of their sliders, and they have definitely done some performance upgrades on their sliders. But I will go ahead and tell you before we even start, they still need to fix the performance on their zooming in and out and moving around the image. So they have like so much going for them. Aurora Hdr is a beautiful interface. It's an incredible software to use. Like, I love using it. It makes me feel like I'm using something futuristic. I love it. It's like 95% there, and the other 5% is just the performance on the back end. Like, they fixed a lot of performance things in this version, but when you zoom in at 100% or 200% and then you kind of move around the photo, it still does that like image processing thing, and it has to re-render the preview with the effects that you've put on it. So that's, it can get a little annoying. However, for a landscape photographer, I don't go through hundreds of wedding photos and stuff like that, so I have the time to wait for a few seconds. It's much better than it was. The first version was like almost a minute on my computer to get everything rendered out. So anyway, let's go ahead and hop in to a quick preview here. I'll just show you really quickly how I work on one image. I'm not going to do a mix of HDR images because that's typically not how I work in Aurora. I normally use Aurora for its algorithm and its sliders on normally just one photo. Sometimes I'll mix brackets in it, but I just want to show you how I use it with one photo. So let's hop into Lightroom real quick. I'll show you real quick. This is a photo I shot from the Fujifilm X-T2. It's, let's see, 30 seconds at f8 and the 16-55 lens. You can see it's pretty blown out. That was an accident on exposure there, but if you go down, the detail is there. So let's reset that, and let's just, we could export it, or we could even go to right-click it, but I'm just going to take it and drag it right into Aurora HDR 2019, and we'll let that open. So there we go, and you can just do Create HDR. That's just basically going to get you a base render of the one image. It's not going to blend any brackets because there are no brackets there to blend. Okay, so here we are in Aurora, and you can see this is kind of the base layer, and I don't like it at all. However, I have liked about 90% of the starting points that they've done, but I understand that this was blown out, and look at how they've kind of improved the dynamic range. It was funny because when I brought this in here and it was processing up top, it was telling me what it was doing. It said it was improving the colors, improving the dynamic range, and look, it actually did recover all the highlights in the sky. So yeah, I'm going to start at square one here and just back off the saturation quite a bit. We're going to take, let's see, we're going to take a very natural approach here. So let's just click on natural and see what that gives us here. Let's go take the amount down into the 20s. And let's add some blue tones to this because it was not that, the sky was not that on fire, I'm going to be honest with you. Let's take the overall exposure down. I want this to be kind of a dark and moody photo. And then we will add, we're going to take the shadows down too, which I know is kind of unheard of. I'm going to add a lot of blacks and contrast into this. I'm going to take the whites up a little bit. Okay, we'll recover some highlights. I'm going to take that saturation down a little still, because the sky was, it was definitely on fire, but it wasn't an electric red, that's for sure. And then let's go here, and just for the heck of it, I'll show you the clarity. I'm not going to add any, but I want to show you that it really doesn't create halos now, which is insane. So look, I'm adding all this HDR clarity, all right? 55% of it. And then I want you to look at that horizon line. It is as clean as it was when it came in. I mean, there's not, like if you look at the legs on the pier, the legs on the horizon, here, I'll give you an example of that image processing thing. See down here on the left, image processing, image processing. It's been about 3 seconds, 4 seconds. Okay, so about 4 seconds it took to render. So that's what I was talking about. It's a little slow. But look, there's not one bit of haloing anywhere on the horizon or on the legs of the pier here. I mean, that's impressive to go at 55% clarity and to get that clean of a result. That is incredible. Before, in the last version, it would halo the crap out of everything. I'm not kidding. So we'll just back that off a little bit because this image doesn't really need all that much clarity. I just wanted to show you. HDR denoise is actually incredible. They improved that. I don't need that. What I'm after is the radiance. I love the dreamy, dreamy radiance look. So let's do the amount of that. It's basically a glorified Orton effect if you don't know what a image radiance is. So let's do smoothness at 30. Let's try the brightness down. I want to make it a super moody image radiance effect here. That's good. Let's see. Let's make it cooler. And all these sliders are within image radiance. It's not affecting everything globally. It's just affecting the overall glow. So I'm making a kind of a cool glow. And we can make it a little bit vivid. Something like that. The polarizing filter is interesting. I just have to play with it on every photo. Some photos it looks horrible. On some photos it looks great. It adds a nice blue hue to the sky. Yeah, that actually looks good. I'm digging that. All right. I don't know. I want this to be a super like soft, pastel colored kind of thing. Okay, I think that's good. Let's play with the tone curve. I think I want to take those highlights down overall just a little bit more here. Something like that. All right, now let's go up here. Let's add a quick layer. Let's do an adjustment layer. And I'm just going to take everything a little bit blue. And you'll see why I'm doing that here in just a second. Okay, that's good for me. Let's create a brush like that. And let's see, go to mask and invert, I believe. And then we will go ahead and paint that blue at, let's see, we'll paint it at about 80%, the softness at 100, into the water. Paint that blue right in there. And if you want to see what you're doing, you can click this little eyeball by the mask. You can see where you're painting if you are curious at all of that. But I have a good idea where I'm painting, so I'm just going to skip over that. So I'm going to paint some of this blue into the water, and I'm going to paint a little bit more blue, this little soft blue on top. You know, just adds a little bit more of a kind of like a nice gradient ramp in the sky. It just goes from blue to orangey to red. You know, this isn't like an amazing photo, but I like those wispy clouds in the back. I would say it's a soothing photo, at least to me. There's nowhere on Earth that I feel more at home than the ocean, and that's, I don't know, I love the ocean. So this is off the Gulf Coast here in the U.S. And I think, I mean, I'm going to call it quits to that. I'm not one of those people that like process the heck out of a photo. I think this is about good. I mean, if I wanted to spend time on it, I would spend a lot of time getting this, all these big holes out of the sand and a lot of the footprints. I would probably just do a skin smoothing effect that I would do for portraits on this sand and just smooth it up a bit. But yeah, this photo turned out nice. I like the way Aurora renders the colors, and if you guys know from my my previous video, I like the way Aurora HDR also renders RAF files from Fujifilm cameras. I think it's nice. So yeah, overall I approve of Aurora HDR 2019. 2018 was okay. 2017 I did not like. The performance was still very bad. Everything prior to then I thought the performance was good. 2019. Great job, Skyloom. You guys have made a big step in the right direction. It is finally usable enough for me to have fun and to get creative while I'm using it. Before, it was just, I was so worried about the speed. But yeah, I think this image looks great. Let's take a look at it again. It's nice. I like it. Yeah, it's so, the colors are soft. That image radiance is just beautiful. It's a great Orton effect. It's even better than creating your own Orton effect with a blur layer in Photoshop. It's just nice and soft. That's a beautiful photo. There you go. Yeah, I like that. That's something that I would probably just hang on my own wall. And I know I keep saying it's beautiful like I'm trying to brag about my own work or something. I'm just saying that because it's the ocean. You could take an ocean photo with the iPhone and I would be like, oh, send me a print, please. All right, so there you go. That's my overall review. I think the sliders have been improved. The performance is great. The real-time affecting of the sliders with the image has been improved so much. I like the new algorithm, how it gives you a base photo that is much more clean, almost 99% perfect. There's no noise, there's no haloing, there's no artifacting. How they do that, I don't know. They did some magic under the hood, which they've needed to do for a while. They focused much less on features and did some under the hood stuff, which is great. So overall review, I'm going to give it like a 90% out of 100. I mean, 9 out of 10, let's say. I really love it. Just that extra 1 point, I would give you a 10 out of 10 if you could fix that last few percent of performance issues. So Skyloom, get to work on some speed performances for 2019, and you guys have sold me 100%. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.